Welcome to another day in the Trump administration as the president unveils his latest deflection tactic to try and get people, mostly his own supporters, to stop talking about the Epstein files. The bigger issue? Auto pens.
He doesn't have a policy. Some lunatic around the desk had a policy. Whoever operated the auto pen had a policy, which is, by the way, I think the biggest scandal. That's the scandal they should be talking about, not Jeffrey Epstein. The scandal you should be talking about is the auto pen, because I think it's the biggest scandal, one of them in American history.
Well, if you care about the Constitution and the rule of law, Trump is right. The auto pen is way more serious than Jeffrey Epstein, because you could have a series of aides here who seized the power of the presidency and used it for their own purposes. You can't have an aide exercising the constitutional power of pardon or the decision not to prosecute people. And so they could have committed forgery. They could have committed fraud. I expect the Justice Department has already opened an investigation and they just don't want to say.
That's right. The man seen pictured more times with Epstein than he is his own family feels the focus should not be on the promise that he and his MAGA contingent made. In fact, I believe the words on those massive binders were, quote, most transparent administration in history.
Bill Clinton.
Nice guy. Got a lot of problems coming up, in my opinion, with the famous island with Jeffrey Epstein.
You raised the question of Jeffrey Epstein in your remarks about in the Q&A.
Well, I think he's got a problem. I mean,
what do you think the problem will be?
I don't know, but that island was really a cesspool.
But instead, the thing that presidents have used for decades, including him, by the way. And while he got some on Fox News to go along with the latest verbal gymnastics, not all have bought into it. I mean, take this segment aired this week in which a contributor pointed out the obvious. The pivot from Democrats are scared of the Epstein files as it will unveil their sick scheme, so we're going to release them if elected, to the Democrats actually made up the Epstein files is as fishy as Marv and Harry's arrival into New York.
Smell that? Yeah. You know what that is?
Fish.
There's a couple things going on here. Many people look at this and go, on its face, it looks like it was handled at least incompetently, if not corruptly, from day one, regardless of leadership. And they want answers because there are real victims who we will probably never know much about because they signed NDAs and because very powerful people were involved. And also, there was an easy answer for the Trump administration here, which was Ghislaine Maxwell is appealing. We cannot release anything while that is ongoing. Right? I think that would have been the clean answer. Now they're in this situation where a bunch of people are deeply invested in this particular story, which there may be plenty more too, as a decoder ring for all that is corrupt in government. And if they don't get answers on that, they'll be very mad. Here's the other thing though. There's a large portion of that portion of the base that will listen to Trump when he gives them an answer on this. And the question is, how politically salient is that?
And it doesn't stop there, right? Aside from the Epstein news that, have I mentioned Trump wants us all to stop talking about? So we should listen, right?
24 hours ago, we reported here that President Trump was urging his team to let the Jeffrey Epstein story die down, with one official telling me flatly that they were ready for it to just go away. But tonight, it has done anything but. The uproar coming from his own supporters is only growing this evening, which the president said just a few moments ago he doesn't understand.
The Jeffrey Epstein story isn't going anywhere.
We're not moving on.
People want the truth.
Less than an hour after the president said there that he was open to the attorney general releasing more information related to Jeffrey Epstein that she deemed credible, CNN's Paula Reed asked Pam Bondi about it.
He said that he would support you releasing additional credible evidence from the Epstein investigation. Is that something that you are open to doing?
I'm not going to talk about Epstein. Our memo speaks for itself, and we'll get back to you on anything else. We're going to fight to keep America safe again, and we're fighting together as a team.
The president today also, whose political career essentially began with a debunked conspiracy theory, then tried to offer a new one about who was truly to blame for the Epstein files.
It appears that Fox News chief analyst Brit Hume didn't get the must fall in line memo this week as he discussed how Mr. Art of the Deal himself got played by Vladimir Putin and is ultimately out of his depth when negotiating with the dictator.
Yeah, I think, look, it's clear from what the president himself has said, although he wouldn't put it this way, that he got played by Putin and it dragged on for months. And he was being jollied along under the impression that Putin had obviously given him that Putin wanted to end the war. and was prepared to negotiate from where we are. And it's pretty clear now that Putin didn't want to end the war where we are. He had more conquest in mind, and perhaps wanted his whole original purpose of taking Ukraine to be fulfilled. And I think that's the Ukrainians have held him off. And Trump, I think, understandably didn't want to add a lot more weaponry into the equation at the beginning of his term because he thought that would simply escalate the conflict. I think he's now changed his mind about that and is prepared to not only add weapons to Ukraine's forces through Europe, he's also prepared, it seems, to impose some sanctions that really might make a difference to Russia. Secondary sanctions on countries that are buying oil from Russia could be very serious for the Russian economy.
And when you look at this, partnered with the blatant rift that's going on within the MAGA contingent, it's apparent that the man is hemorrhaging support. And instead of following through on his campaign promise, he's just doubling down, blaming any Democrat that just pops in his head.
Just get waylaid, but I think she's doing a great job, personally.
This morning, you mentioned past supporters when you were talking about the Epstein issue. Does that mean that you're effectively disowning any supporters who are now...
I lost a lot of faith in certain people, I lost... because they got duped by the Democrats. The Democrats are good for nothing. They've done a terrible job. They almost destroyed our country. I call it the Epstein hoax. It takes a lot of time and effort. Instead of talking about the great achievements, we've had a great gentleman yesterday, as you know, went on CNBC and he made the statement that Trump may go down as the greatest president of all in the United States. And instead of talking about the things we've achieved, we've had tremendous achievement. They're wasting their time with a guy who obviously had some very serious problems, who died 3-4 years ago. I'd rather talk about the success we have with the economy, the best we've ever had, and all of the things we've done, including the Middle East. I mean, you see it. Instead, they want to talk about the Epstein hoax. And the sad part is it's people that are really doing the Democrats' work.
And of course, his go-to. It's all Biden's fault, going as far as to blame Joe Biden for appointing Jerome Powell to run the Fed. Trump himself nominated him in 2017. I'll await Jake Tapper's book on this matter.
Back considering firing Jerome Powell.
He's a terrible Fed chair. I was surprised he was appointed. I was surprised, frankly, that Biden put him in. It is my pleasure and my honor to announce my nomination of Jerome Powell to be the next chairman of the Federal Reserve. As president, there are a few decisions more important than nominating leaders of integrity and good judgment to hold trusted positions in public office. And few of those trusted positions are more important than the chairman of the Federal Reserve.
And I just wish there was someone on hand to fact check him here, akin to how his once trusted enabler, Bill O'Reilly, was brutally fact checked when he tried to blame Biden regarding Epstein.
This is how disingenuous that comment was. And this is what infuriates me about these people. Jeffries knew the Biden administration had exactly the same thing the Trump administration has on Epstein. Exactly. Right. Because Epstein was convicted during the Biden administrations. Not one time did Hakeem Jeffrey call for any exposition of what the Biden Justice Department knew. Not once. He doesn't care about the people.
Hold on. Bill.
This is what
hold on.
he does.
Hold on. Bill, hold on. You said Epstein was convicted during the Biden administration. Epstein committed suicide during the Trump administration.
Yeah, so?
How is he convicted? How do you convict
Epstein
a guy who's dead?
was convicted I believe, under Merrick Garland's Justice Department. That could be. Am I wrong on that? I don't think so. And then he was incarcerated, and then he committed suicide. Okay. The suicide thing is bull. I know the New York coroner's office very, very well. There's no way those people in there put a phony report about a suicide. No way. Impossible. And it's not hard to ascertain whether you committed suicide.
I think this is important. Bill, I think this is important. He was arrested in 2019 and he committed suicide in 2019. He died August 10th of 2019. So the Biden administration was not involved in a conviction or a trial of him. They were of Elaine Maxwell.
And that's a good point of clarification. But he was arrested and indicted under Merrick Garland.
No, under Trump.
Who had all of the information.
Epstein was arrested, indicted, and committed suicide under Trump. In 2019, Trump was president. Merrick Garland was not the attorney general.
Okay.
It's so apparent the man is in turmoil and he is alienating swaths of supporters. I mean, his approval rating is abysmal already, and no amount of lies about inflation or gas prices or art of the deflection will stop people talking about the promises that he made and has never kept.
Mr. Speaker, I rise today to demand that Donald Trump and our Attorney General come clean to the American people and release the Epstein files. Now, this weekend, Donald Trump said, and I quote, "Let's not waste time and energy on Jeffrey Epstein, somebody that nobody cares about." Well, Mr. President, a lot of people actually care. And we know that MAGA was all in on Jeffrey Epstein. Now, my Republican colleagues have sent letters, they've posted, they've demanded disclosure. Donald Trump Jr., the president's own son, has tweeted dozens of times about this case. FBI Director Kash Patel swore under oath in front of the Senate that he would be transparent with the American public and release the Epstein files. He said, and I want to quote, "Make sure the American public knows the full weight of what happened," that he would do that. That was his quote. Now, in February, our Attorney General Pam Bondi told Fox News that Epstein's client list was, again, and I quote, "sitting on my desk right now to review. We must inquire more information." The truth is we don't know what the facts are in this case.
The truth is more important than ever. Check out our new Truth Over Lies collection at store.MeidasTouch.com. All 100% USA union made.